Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Lauren from Guthrie and Ganny, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you a roundup of all of the different woven top patterns that I have made and worn over the years. So following on from my other recent video that was super popular, you guys seem to really love it, where I did a roundup of all of the shirt and blouse patterns that I'd made and that I wear on regular rotation. I thought I'd do something similar for tops. So in the other video, I was classifying shirts and blouses as garments where the buttons go all the way down the front. Whereas in this group of garments, I'm classifying a top as in something that you're generally pulling on and off over your head. So there's no zips. You'll see some of them have buttons, but they don't have buttons all the way down. So and I'm classifying them all as tops. So I know people have different definitions of different tops and blouses and shirts and all that sort of thing, but hopefully that will let you know what kind of garment is going to be in this post. And if you're looking for something with buttons all the way down, then it's best to check out my other video. Now, there are literally hundreds of different top patterns out there, and this little sample here is not going to be fully representative of all the different top patterns that are out there. These are the vast majority of these ones are actually my own clothes that I have taken out of my drawer, and I don't think I've ever had so many of my clothes ironed before, which is really good for me. And yeah, they're things that I've worn and that I made regularly, they're things that I've made and that I wear regularly. Some of them are samples for the shop that we've made for window displays and that sort of thing. But yeah, the vast majority of them are my actual clothes. And really what I wanted to do in this video is to start getting you used to interpreting the technical drawings that come with patterns, and then getting used to visualising how that translates into a finished garment. Because it can be quite hard to picture things, and when you get used to looking at a technical drawing, seeing what is in it, and where the seams are, where the shaping is, will really help you to then understand how the garment's intended to fit, how it's going to hang, and then just seeing different types of garment made up in different types of fabric will again just hopefully help you to sort of, when you come to plan a project, that you are going to get the outcome that you want. Because I really believe that when you're investing quite a lot of time and effort into sewing something, you obviously want to like the thing at the end. And especially when you're just, when you're still building up your skills, or you're still, you've not done that many dressmaking projects yet, it can almost feel like a bit like potluck when you're making something. You're like, am I actually going to like this at the end of it? And I want to help you get used to visualising what the end garment's going to be like, managing your own expectations, so that you get to the end and you think, yeah, that's actually turned out the way that I wanted it to, and it's got the look, it's got the feel that I wanted it to, because it'll make you feel better about what you've done. It'll boost your confidence, boost you on to the next project, and it it just feels good when you wear something that you've made and you really like it. And for me, that feeling of wearing something that I've made, especially when it's a whole outfit, it just never gets old, and I really want to help you guys feel like that as well. So what I'm going to do is go through all of the tops, and I'll show you what the technical drawings are and tell you the name of the pattern as well, and then explain the type of fabric that I've sewn it in, and hopefully you'll just start to see some common themes. And I've got quite a few things in double gauze, I've got a few things in viscose and cottons and linens and that sort of thing. And putting all of that together will hopefully just help you start to understand how different fabrics look like when they're made up. You'll see that I've kind of gone from like sleeves moving into little strappy sort of sleeveless ones at the end. So hopefully there's lots of variety in there for you. Now, the first one that I'm going to talk about is the top that I'm wearing, and this is the Closet Core Knix top dress blouse. There is a dress version that comes with it as well, but there are a few top versions that you do just pull on and off over your head. So the version that I'm wearing has got a facing at the neckline. It's a V neckline, it's got a seam down the front, but you could just cut that out on the fold if you wanted and omit the seam allowance. And all of the versions that I've got to show you here are made in our Be Happy Blooms viscose print, and so you can see that it's quite drapey, it's moving around. I've got it tucked in here, so you can see it's sort of blousing over the edge. That's what viscose is going to do. And you can either have longer sleeves like this, which have got the elastic at the bottom. So again, because the fabric's drapey, then when you're wearing that, it doesn't, it just sort of drapes and hangs really nicely. It's got gathers at the back. So it's going to have fullness, it's going to be loose fitting, it's not got any bust darts. So, you know, it's designed to be quite a loose fitting garment, and I actually sized down 2 sizes when I made this one because I wanted it just to sit a little bit neater. Then obviously you've got the shorter sleeve version here, and then the other version that you've got that I'm classing as a top is this version here that's got buttons that go to a waistline seam, and then you've got this little sort of peplum here. And just to give you an example of, you know, the fit of the garment, this one here I made in my actual body, the size that matches my body measurements, but then this is the one that I made that's sized down 2 sizes, and I also slightly shortened the peplum as well. So again, if you're looking at that finished garment measurement chart and you're seeing how much positive ease is in it, all of these tops are going to have positive ease, as in they're going to be bigger than your actual body because they're made out of woven fabrics, you're pulling them on and off. The amount of positive ease tells you how much looseness or fullness is in the garment, and then you can decide how much of that you want or you don't want. So that's the Closet Core Knits. And then the next one that I've got is the Merchant and Mills Ellsworth blouse. So this has got a little sort of pop over placket, so the placket just comes halfway down. And then it's got a traditional collar, a collar stand, and then it is very loose fitting, so into the sleeve is one piece. So you know immediately if you've got a garment that doesn't have a seam to attach the sleeve on, that this is going to be quite loose fitting as well. There's going to end up being fabric under your arm, because the minute you put your arm down, all of that fabric's got to go somewhere. So again, this is just, it's designed to be wide, it's designed to be oversized. I made the black version in my actual body measurements, and then this is sized down a couple of sizes as well, and also shortened in length. So again, you know, depending on how loose you want something, you can look at sort of sizing down on it. But yeah, there's no, you know, there is no sort of shaping on this. This is just going to be big and loose and oversized. And then the next one that I've got here, this is actually a sample that we had for the shop, but this is the Sew Liberated Strata top. And again, this has got a grown on sleeve here, so there's no separate seam for the sleeve. It's just an extension of the front bodice. It's got no darting in it at all, so it's not shaped over the bust. And this is made in a cotton fabric. I would say it's more of a medium weight cotton fabric. Now you can see even from me holding it up, the structure of this garment is very well maintained and held, because that's what cotton will do. If this was made out of a viscose, it would be floating and flopping down a lot more, and that wideness would kind of swish around and drape. So a pretty easy one, I'd say, with this one. It's literally just a front and back. It's got a bound neckline, a dipped hem, so you can see it's a bit shorter at the front than at the back. And again, it's, you know, it's going to be quite loose fitting, but if you make it in a cotton, it's going to be more structured and hold that shape. Make it in a viscose, it's going to float and drape a lot more. Now the next one is the Megan Nielsen Olive top. And this has got this little sort of insert in here. Now this again has a little grown on sleeve. It's got a little cuff. There's no bust or dart shapings there. So again, it's just another one that's going to be quite, you know, quite loose, and it's not going to be fitted over the bust at all. So, you know, you could kind of crop it to make it shorter, have it longer to tuck it in and make it bloused over. This one is a viscose linen. This fabric here, this stripy one, so I can't remember the exact combination, but you can see it's, you know, it's sort of holding it's holding its structure a fair amount. I think if you did this one in 100% viscose, it might kind of flop down here a little bit more, it might not hold that shape quite as well. But yeah, just a different sort of detailing on the front neckline there. The next one is the assembly line cuff top. Now again, this one doesn't have any bust shaping or any darts or anything here. Again, a grown on sleeve, and then it's got this really wide elastic cuff on it. It does have a seam down the centre front and centre back. Again, you probably could omit that just by cutting it out on the fold, and then it's got a facing at the neckline. So I would say it's probably like a bit more fitted in the body than some of the others, but it still is going to be loose, and it's still going to be loose around this area here because it doesn't have a separate sleeve that's actually sewn on, you know, like this one. like this one does here, that's got the set-in sleeve. Okay, next up we have the Friday Pattern Company Wilder top and gown, and this is a raglan sleeve. So a raglan sleeve is when you can see that diagonal sleeve line going up into the neckline here, and this is also going to be loose fitting because again it's no bust darts in it. It's got a centre front seam, but a lot of the shaping is coming from all of this sort of gathering round the neckline. So you make a channel, you put a tie through it, and then that's what sort of gathers it up, and you can either tie that up or leave it open. Now I made this out of quite a lightweight viscose piqué fabric, which is, I made it a while ago so we don't actually have this fabric anymore, but you can see that it's quite lightweight, it's floppy, it's drapey, all these gathers are just sort of like hanging down really nicely, whereas if you made this in a cotton lawn or a medium weight cotton, that sort of gathering fullness is going to feel a lot heavier. I actually stitched my ties here to fix it because I wanted to wear it open, and I did also find that it was quite low here, so I'd sort of hand stitched it a little bit. I actually need to repair that slightly, just so it wasn't open as low down, but yeah, another sort of nice one that's going to be good for viscose, I would say, just because it's got all of those gathers around the neckline. Now this one here is the Closet Core Celio top, which you can also make as like a shift dress as well, and this one does have some bust shaping. It has a dart that goes into the armhole, so a little bit more unusual. Quite often darts go into the side seam, but this one's going into the armhole. And it does have a set-in sleeve as well. It's got a little yoke on the back, which is just going to give some nice detailing and some interest. You can either have a facing or a binding at the neckline. And then it's got a little cuff on the sleeve as well. So this is quite a sort of short, cropped, boxy version, and this is made in a viscose as well. But this is a really lovely, versatile top pattern. You could definitely make this in a gauze, in a cotton linen, in a cotton. It just depends how much fullness and shape you want it to hold, because I would say even though it does have the bust dart shaping, it is still quite a boxy style of top, but that just drapes and hangs a bit more when it is made in a viscose fabric. The next one I've got two examples of. One was a shop sample and the other is my own top. It is the Merchant and Mills Camber top, which again can also be made into a shift dress, and it's got a partially bound neckline at the front and then a little yoke at the back. It's got a bust dart as well, so it's going to have a little bit more shaping, but it's still, you know, you're just pulling it on and off over your head. You know, immediately if you see something where you're pulling it on and off over your head, it is going to have enough ease and kind of looseness that you can do that. Something's only going to be much more fitted if it's got a zip or buttons or something that allows you to take it on and off. Anything that goes on and off over your head will also always be looser. So this is a double gauze, whereas this one here is more of a medium weight cotton. It's got a sort of sashiko type stitching in it. So it does hold that sort of, you know, that t-shirt shape. It's holding its structure a bit more. You can see it doesn't really move around very much, does it? Because it's got more structure and weight in it being a cotton. So that's the Camber. The next one I've got quite a few different versions of. This is the Helen's Closet Ashton top, which we did as a kit, and I've also got a few versions that are just my own as well. It's a very versatile pattern. It has a bust dart, so a little bit of shaping there. You can either have a facing or a binding at the neckline, and the pattern comes sleeveless. So I do have my sleeveless version is here. This is made in a lightweight linen. This was a Liberty one that we had a few years ago. And because it's a lightweight linen, you can see it's sort of moving around and draping a bit more. Whereas this one, I think this one was a viscose linen as well, but I've got a feeling that this has just got a little bit more structure to it. So it is like a little bit A-line. You can have a facing in the hem as well. So if something's got a facing in the hem, it'll tend to hold the structure and shape of the facing a bit more. So I would say really you wouldn't put a facing on a hem if you were going to tuck something in, because it would just feel too bulky. So I would just hem it regularly if you were going to tuck something in. But yeah, you can either have it sleeveless, that's how the pattern comes. You can get a sleeve expansion pack to have little tulip sleeves. You can have there's just like a little regular short sleeve. There is a longer sleeve here, which is what this one is. So yeah, there's quite a few different versions of sleeve that you can have with the Ashton. This is it in a viscose here, so you can see these are all the same size, by the way, so you can see that that one, you know, it just moves, it drapes, it swishes a lot more, so tucking that in is going to be nice because it will sort of blouse over really nicely. And then that version there is, I think that's the same cotton and linen that I was showing you before as well, so it's just holding its structure and shape a little bit more than the viscose, the 100% viscose one. Next up, we have got the chalk and notch fringe top, and you can also make a dress in this as well. This doesn't have any bust darts or shaping at this, sorry, it does, it's got it at the waistline here, excuse me. So it does have a little bit of shaping, but again, you're still having to pull this on and off over your head, so it's not going to be really fitted around the bust. Grown on sleeves, so again, it's going to be loose under the arm here with little cuffs. Got a facing at the neckline, little buttons here. You can actually pull this on and off without undoing the buttons. And you can also optionally add in a little waist tie just to make it a little bit more fitted. It does have some shaping at the back as well. But yeah, that's a really lovely, nice sort of nice little blousey one. It's really nice in the dress version as well. Next up, we have got quite an old pattern. This was definitely in the archives of my top drawer at home. But this is the Sewholic Belcara blouse, which was really popular when it sort of first came out back in the day. This is a raglan top, so that again, the sleeve seam is diagonal up into the neckline. I would say it's got quite a wide neckline, this one. Bias binding, a little cuff on the sleeve there, and it doesn't have a dart, so it is sort of shaped. Can you see the waist kind of comes in and then it goes out at the hip, so it does have some shaping there. You have a little pocket on the front if you want. I was very proud when I pattern matched that. So yeah, and this is it's a Liberty cotton lawn, so you can see that it's, you know, it's holding its shape and its structure fairly well. I know this is a different pattern, but again, you see when I sort of hold them up against each other and swish them around, this just moves a lot more. This just doesn't. It holds its shape a lot more. So that's the cotton lawn. The next one I've got is a Fibromed pattern. This is the Tanita, and it is very loose and full. This is a really simple one, front and a back, bound at the neckline. And it's got elastic cuff and then elastic at the bottom hemline as well. So it's very loose, very blousey. This is a viscose, the popular Fabric Godmother Joni print. And really, I feel like you do need a viscose for a style like this, because otherwise it's just going to feel too kind of clumpy and sticky outy. But a viscose works really well. It drapes really nicely because again, there is just going to be like quite a lot of fabric kind of there as you put your arm down, and when it's lightweight viscose, it feels really nice and lightweight. It's fine. But yeah, a really cute one if you've got quite a bold print like this that you don't want to cut into too much. It works really nicely. The next one's a fairly new pattern. It's been so popular since it came in. This is the Friday Pattern Company Dorney blouse. And it's nice if you like a little collar, but you don't want to do the whole buttonholes and buttons. So you're just popping this over your head. It's like a camp style collar, so it's not a collar stand. It's got those sort of like lapels that you just kind of wear open. A yoke at the back with some gathering, but not too much gathers, so it doesn't sort of give too much fullness in. It's set in sleeves, so you know it's going to be more fitted over the shoulder and into the arm. It's not going to be too bulky under there, but it is, I would say it's like fairly boxy. This is sized down one size from my body measurements, and I've made this in a little Dolby cotton with a lovely embroidered bottom, so I just rotated my pattern pieces 90 degrees when I cut that out. But yeah, it's a really lovely, cute, versatile one that you could make lots of different things with. I would say probably I have seen versions made up in viscose on Instagram that look really nice, but I think that the sort of crispness is held really well in either a cotton or a cotton linen mix, or a cotton viscose would be nice as well. The next one is the Forget Me Not Patterns Lola top, and this is a really lovely little simple one as well. It's got two bust darts at the front, and then it's got a yoke at the back with a little pleat, so it is sort of looser at the back here, and you can have this optional little ruffle frill, which I think is really cute, goes all the way across, so just small little grown on cap sleeves there, and then binding at the neckline as well. So yeah, another lovely little little top that you can make as a shift dress too, and quite a few of these you can make as a dress. This one is the Merchant and Mills Florence blouse, which I would say is pretty wide and sort of oversized. It's got this lovely, really gathered peplum, which kind of comes up a little bit higher at the back, so you can see it's sort of higher here than it is at the front. A set-in sleeve, so over the shoulders into the sleeve is going to be like sitting a bit neater and a bit flatter, but it's definitely, you know, quite wide and boxy into the body, and then it's got little button placket at the back, which I find that I do need to undo that to get in and out of it, so then I'm kind of reaching at the back to do it up, which isn't too bad. But yeah, I really like that one. This is a viscose crepe, and I think that the viscose crepe works really nicely in this style because it is quite full with it's boxy anyway, and then it's got the gathers. But I would say a lightweight cotton would be nice as well. A nice little Dobie spot or something would be nice too. But yeah, I really like my viscose version. The next one is the Friday Pattern Company Saguaro top. That's actually the trousers that I've got on, is the Saguaro trousers. And this has been a really popular one too. It's just got the sleeve on it is grown on too, so it ends up feeling quite loose into the sleeve. And then it's got this elastic bit at the bottom here. And then bound here, you can have a little tie. You can actually wear it this way around as well if you wanted to. Sometimes people lengthen it. Sometimes people wear like a little vest top underneath it as well. But yeah, I think it's really cute. It's nice and simple. This one is, I'm pretty sure this is just a linen. It was one of the Atelier Brunette ones. Maybe it was a viscose linen. Sorry, I can't remember that now. But it's a really versatile pattern. Double gauze. You can use viscose, of course. A viscose linen would all work really nicely. So a nice lovely little summer one there. And then we are on to the Hadrian Handmade Phoenix blouse, which we did as a kit. And the other version of this has quite big sort of bell sleeves, but you can make a sleeveless version as well. I just bound the armholes here. This is made out of a little embroidered double gauze as well, and it's quite loose. It doesn't have any bust starts, and because it's got gathers here and it's got some gathers at the back yoke as well, you know, it is quite loose and boxy. So yeah, it works well in a viscose. It works well in a double gauze, obviously, but again, you could use any of the other fabrics that I've been mentioning as well. I've just realised I've skipped past this one here, which was this was another shop sample, and this is the Merchant and Mills Edie, which I would say is pretty oversized. That tends to be Merchant and Mills aesthetic, is that it's quite oversized. But it's, you know, it's quite wide, it's quite boxy. There's no bust starch there as well. The sleeves have got a little channel to then be gathered, so they are quite sort of puffy and oversized as well. So this is it in a double gauze. But again, I think a viscose would look nice. I think a viscose linen would look nice as well. Cute little keyhole opening at the back. So yeah, another one if you like quite big dramatic sleeves, really. And then we're on to one that I have made loads of over the years, and this is the Grainline Willow top. It only comes with one version. I would say that's the only thing about the Willow, whereas it's quite similar to the Helen's Closet Ashton, but you can have the sleeve options with that. This has got a bust start here, so it is, you know, I would say over the shoulders and into the bust a bit more fitted, but then it is quite A-line after that, just some binding at the neckline and the armhole. So that's a lightweight linen. This was a Nanny Arrow one that we had years ago, so maybe it was a viscose linen. Sorry, again, I can't remember. I've made some of these tops a long time ago. But because it is A-line, you know, it depends on how much structure the fabric's got, will depend on how much shape that's getting held there. This is the same top in a double gauze, which is holding its shape fairly well. But you can see if you did that in a viscose, it's going to drape down a lot more. So yeah, just another sort of simple one. Nice wide shoulder seams there if you like that, to make sure your bra strap is covered. And then I'm going to go on to this one next, actually, just because it's got the wide, sort of slightly wider straps there as well. This is the Fibromed Quiller top, and this is a really lovely sort of boxy one as well. So it's got gathers at the side and elastic, so you know that there's going to be fullness in it there if you see gathers and elastic. There's no bust starts or anything there. It's got a facing at the neckline which goes into the armhole as well. And yeah, I used I think this is a viscose linen too. but I think the aesthetic of a lot of the Fibromed patterns is that sometimes they use quite structured fabrics and it makes like really dramatic shapes. So, you know, it depends how sort of dramatic you want the top to be. If you want it to sort of drape and hang a little bit neater and sort of swish a little bit more, then something that's got viscose in it that's going to drape is going to be good. Whereas if you want, you know, if you want that drama, then something that's a bit heavier and thicker is going to hold that shape a lot more. So yeah, that was a new one that I made quite recently, which I'm really liking. And then this is another oldie that I haven't worn for ages, but this is the Jennifer Lauren handmade Hunter tank, and this is made in a cotton lawn, a Liberty cotton lawn, and it's cut on the bias. So if you did use a viscose to make this, it's really going to sort of drape down, but I think because I've done it in a cotton lawn, it doesn't drape quite as much, but it's got this cute little tie at the front. I've got a feeling that I actually lengthened this and then I slightly regretted it afterwards. But yeah, you know, a cute little sort of tank top style, but something that's a little bit different because it's got that cute tie version at the front. The next one is actually a style arc pattern. This is I think it's the Ariana, which is a dress, but I made it into a little top. So it's got a shearing panel at the back, with an elastic channel at the top and at the bottom, and then it's got buttons at the front and then these little straps here. So I actually lined all of this as well because that main outer embroidered fabric was quite lightweight. It was so long ago that I made this one as well. I've got a feeling that there's definitely 3 layers of fabric there. I think I had like another really lightweight cotton voile to sort of go with the outer fabric, and I basted them together to kind of make it one layer, and then I think that's maybe like the Serona linen on the inside as the lining. So yeah, that one's quite fitted. These are princess seams here that are going all the way up, so the shaping for the bust comes from there, and then obviously because it's got shearing at the back, that's going to pull it quite tight and make it quite fitted as well, the shearing section. So yeah, quite a summery one, that one. And then finally I have got here my Ogden Camis, a few of my many Ogden Camis, which is the true bias classic pattern. This is probably the one that's most closely like the way the line drawing is. It's quite thin straps and it's got a sort of partial lining facing in it. It's quite A-line. And then it's a little bit lower at the back than at the front. So this is actually the back, that's the front, but you probably could wear it either way around. So yeah, this is made in a double gauze, so you can see that it's holding that A-line shape a little bit more. Whereas this version here in the viscose, it's got wider straps, but otherwise it's exactly the same, and you can see the way that it's draping down is totally different from the gauze. You know, the gauze is sticking out a lot more, whereas the viscose is sort of moving and draping and swishing. So, you know, it depends how much you want that sort of shape to be held. And then, oh, that one's just falling off. And then I did something a little bit different on this one, where I added a peplum on. So I've got a tutorial to show you how to do that, but it just sort of adds like a little bit of difference, obviously makes it a bit more kind of swishy and fuller at the bottom, because that's what gathers do, they make things fuller and looser. So I hope you found that useful. As I said, there's so many different top patterns out there, you know, really the choice is endless and I can't go through all of them, but I do hope that seeing a little selection of some of the ones I've made help you anyway, and just I'm hoping that seeing the line drawing and then the actual finished garment and just hearing me chat about it a little bit more and the type of fabric I've used to make it will just help you get a bit more experience in visualising things. If you are ever planning a project and you're sort of looking on our website and you're thinking, oh, what will go with what, do always just give us a call, email us. The G&G team and I are always more than happy to help or sort of give you any recommendations. And then I do my weekly Instagram lives as well, so you can always ask to see any fabrics hanging up there. Sometimes it does just help to like see a fabric in the context of a person, or sort of see it moving around, and it helps you just to, you know, imagine what that'll look like in a garment. So yeah, I do hope you found that inspiring, and what I will do is link to the blog post that goes with this video, where I'll list out all of the patterns that I've mentioned. Some of them are PDFs that you have to get from the pattern company themselves, we can then print them for you, or some of them are ones that we stock ourselves. The fabrics are just going to be like a little bit of a mix, as I said, because they're like my own top collection that I've built up over the years. Some of the fabrics are, you know, they're quite old now, so we don't have exactly the same thing anymore, but usually we've always got something that's pretty similar. So so yeah, if there's something that you fancy recreating, then hopefully we can help you get close to achieving that with a similar fabric. So yeah, thanks for watching, and remember, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, just remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on my next video, and I will see you next time. Bye.